Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me for Overcoming Overwhelm, a nervous system approach to health, wellness, and success. I am literally so excited to dive into the interview for today because Amy Civica is an incredible individual with a lot of just beautiful, not only knowledge, but zest for life, zest for our relationships with food and all the things that we want to be exploring here in this series. So Amy is the founder of Food is Love Experience. It's a journey that removes the guilt, shame, and make wrong of your relationship with food, creates the space to bring joy, ease, and fun to eating again. She uses her sparkle to ignite your clarity on what to eat, gives you joy in the process, and confidence to never diet again. Amy's a mom of 2 boys, a digital nomad, and a personal retreat chef. She loves spending time with amazing people over amazing food. Amy, oh my gosh. Wow, I love that. And just in the few minutes that I've gotten to spend with you so far, it's so obvious how much this life suits you, how much you love it, and how much we all out in the world are benefiting from your beautiful commitment to food. I'd love to hear, before we dive into some of the more substance, I'd love to hear how you got started. How did you land this incredible life?
Oh, food, because food is everything, right? I actually grew up on a farm. My mother, from scratch, chickens to broccoli to beans to eggs, and I was like, this sucks. It's so much work.
Yeah.
Bye, Mom. When I went to college, I ate pizza every day. Thank goodness I have a healthy foundation that my mother set for me.
Yeah.
And food was just a thing to eat. And when I was little, I mean, even homemade bread she would make, and I hated it because I wanted Wonder Bread. So, the foundation that I had was there, but I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
For the healthy eating. And then fast forward, I always thought I'd take cooking classes to when I got married, and then I married a guy who likes to cook, like me. And then I thought this is perfect, and then we moved to Italy. And in Italy, oh, the culture there, the atmosphere around food and what it means to the family and the emotion that's put into it and the pleasure of the simplicity of it, I was a sponge. I soaked that right up. And when I moved back to the United States, I saw the stress. I remembered the stress. I remember my mother in the kitchen, God love her.
Yeah.
She's a stress case, but she was feeding 4 kids and managing a garden and chickens and all these things that, we take for granted what we used to do to have food on the table.
Yeah.
And we have all this extra fast stuff, and that's so much easier because then we get to do the fun things that we like instead of focusing on the providing the food. So I found balance. I want to make sure that I'm providing good food that's from scratch. I always tell, I have clients, you can grow it, I'll cook it. Just don't ask me to grow it. There are amazing farmers out there, and that's their passion and their love. Mine is the cooking part. So I've been able to figure out how to create systems in my life to meal prep, to be prepared, to put on a 20-plate dinner from stuff that's in my freezer, that I always have systems going and stuff. And I brought that information back from Italy, and I saw the franticness here and said, okay, I can create meals for people. How do I do this? And I had several different business plan ideas and finally landed on creating a business called Amy in Your Kitchen. And I went into people's homes and I started filling their refrigerator with whatever it took for them to get through the week. So that was the birth of falling in love. And Italy was it was amazing. Like, I want to bring that energy back to our homes, to the idea of food can be simple and it can be fresh, and just, it doesn't have to be 100 ingredients. It can be like, I don't like anything that's more than 5 ingredients. Why put so much energy or the hectic energy? And when we can be in alignment with loving our food and loving what we're providing for ourselves, that is also something that helps our nervous system.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love this. And what you're describing is so often it's like we live kind of in one extreme. And then when we want to experience something different, we go way to the other extreme, college pizza, right? The epitome of quick and easy, right? And then when you opened up to what's authentic, what is really speaking to me, what is nourishing, what is gorgeous, you ended up here for yourself,
Back to the
which
basics.
is, yes, back to the basics. Yeah. I'm curious. So when you're working with people, are you also helping them develop these systems for themselves?
If they want. So I started with in your kitchen and I'm doing it for you. And then I through a series of clients that weren't eating what I was cooking and still having me come back, I was like, okay, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so then I found the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. And I have been through that and constantly studying the psyche around what we crave, how we crave, and what we want to eat, even when the idea of eating and having a personal chef in your kitchen and you're still not eating it,
There's something going on,
what's
right?
going on, right? So
Yeah.
I've figured out how to speak to people in that. So I can then with that, I was like, well, people don't need me in their kitchen. They just need to learn how to do it. So I went to all coaching. And yet the biggest struggle they had was the actual doing. So now I'm more balanced. We, like you just said a minute ago, it's one extreme to the other. So now I'm balanced. Now my program includes teaching you, helping you with systems, coming into your kitchen, cleaning out drawers, making it simple and lovely. You have to love the space you're in as well. That helps the emotions around it. But so setting that whole system up, yes, I can either teach you, and if you don't want to have anything to do with it, I can do it for you. So I can do both, whatever you need, however you need to move forward, because we do have other things. I realize that people don't have the desire to do these things. And, we are in a society of the ability to focus on the things we love and pay to have somebody else do the things we don't. So thank goodness for that.
Exactly. And I love it because it does provide in both cases. And, we're going to get into the nervous system a little bit more, but, in a lot of the work that I do, I work with people who are stuck in overwhelm, stuck in survival. And I teach them as part of helping them overcome their emotional eating. I help them understand that the nervous system is a foundation. And if you're in overwhelm, you can't change. And you certainly can't, if you're in overwhelm already, you certainly can't figure out how to suddenly meal plan and prep and create all of these systems. That requires, right, someone who has a lot of capacity. And so for you to be able to provide that service of coming in and really helping somebody that might be in overwhelm step by step, look, this is how it's possible. I can imagine that is just such a game changer for people who have, never really thought that that was something that they could achieve or have before. Oh,
That's
I love
so
that.
true, because it's like we talk about your relationship with food and people don't even realize that that's a thing. And we talk about the nervous system and people have no idea what actually are trigger points in the nervous system. And so the whole idea of you can have this service. What?
Yeah.
Like you do what?
Right. Yeah, it is so I don't want to say unusual, but it's
unique.
It is. And it's also something, maybe a lot of people have the expectation like I should know how to do this. I should be able to figure
There's
this out.
guilt. There's another thing that gets put on our shoulders. There's also, well, only really rich people can do that. And I have the misconception that people are like, well, all your clients must be really rich. And I said, no, all my clients prioritize food. And I cook in teeny tiny kitchens and I cook in massive sized kitchens. And ironically, the massive sized kitchens, which are gorgeous, and everybody's like, well, if I had a big kitchen, I would do the cooking. You don't.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
much to do with your kitchen, right?
Yes. And setting up your space so that is functional is huge. But, and there are things that I can work with in any size kitchen to make it function better. but it starts with your mentality. It starts with your mind. Where do you want to go? How do you want to end? Finding the steps, finding the tutelage, finding the encourager, the cheerleader, whatever it takes to make those steps as well.
Whatever it takes. Yeah. And food is so important. And you know, we can definitely talk about that. Like, why is our relationship with food so important? I mean, I know you'd be like, let me roll out my 100
Here's the
bullet
100 point
points.
list.
Yeah.
Right?
But in a nutshell, I mean,
in a nutshell, because it pushes and pulls our desires around what we crave.
Mm.
And either you're in charge or the food's in charge. And in your relationship, I relate it to having a best friend, but you get to be in charge. And this best friend doesn't judge you. They go along with what you say if you say, but if you don't say, if you don't have an opinion, they're like, ta-da, let's go. We're going to do this and this and this, because then it's influenced by the things and the circumstances around you. So by having that relationship, a lot of times the relationship, I mean, we have relationships with coworkers, with spouses, with children, with animals. You have to pay attention to it. And the many people who don't even know that your relationship with food exists, if you don't know it exists, how can you know you have to pay attention to it? That you have to spend a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of work, and acknowledging that it's there is the first step to being able to start igniting that awesome glow you can have when it comes to, oh, it's time to eat, instead of it being this huge you know, you're like, awesome, what can I go find?
And it can be that way. It can be like this oppressing thing, either because we have no idea how to do it, or there's all these messages, oh, I should be eating this, you know, I should have this kind of macronutrient makeup, and you know, I'm not eating enough protein, you know, aside from we're tired and we're overworked. So sometimes just adding that extra in, it can be oppressive, because we think to ourselves, our bodies are not okay the way they are, and I shouldn't be eating food.
Right.
You know, for so many reasons, it can just be so difficult to have that kind of excitement around food. But what a nourishing relationship is available to us with food, right? What could possibly nourish us in the right, with the right setting, in the right tools? What could nourish us more than food?
It's the fuel. We all need it. We can't get away from it. And you can't starve yourself. Our body, how your body is, that the cellulite and the pockets of fat and the sore muscles or sore joints, it's all a voice. Your body is voicing something. And how do we, you know, starting your relationship with food, ironically, is a relationship with your body, and understanding what it's asking for. And if we have inflammation, if we have bloating, if we have gas, I mean, there's so many things that our body's trying to tell us, and people take it as normal to have heartburn and just take a pill. And your body's trying to tell you, what you're eating is hurting me. Please listen. And when we have weight, you know, there's aspects of weight that have to do with food, but there's a bigger part of aspects of weight that have to do with our nervous system and digestion.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear, and for us to kind of approach that a little bit, you know, and maybe kind of the circle that you know, that comes from I don't want to say dysfunctional, but I want to say a less than optimal relationship with food, how it affects, you know, digestion, nervous system, etc. So let's kind of just help people understand that a little bit better, so that they know that there's something else that's possible.
Right. So think of it this way. Your stomach has as many neurons as your brain, firing, going. And digestion is incredibly important for our bodies to survive, but it's not part of the survival mode. And your body, when you're in high stress, when you're thinking of all these other things, your body says, okay, brain's the most important. Function brain. The brain's functioning. We got to go. Stay focused there. So even if you're eating the best food and you're not able to take a moment to recognize what you're eating and to acknowledge and tell, that's people they gave a prayer, they give silence. That's a way of saying, this is what I'm acknowledging right now that I'm going to be taking in this food. Okay, body, let the stomach work. But if you take that in, if you're shoveling it in while you're working on the computer, or you're stressed about this or doing that,
or beating yourself up for eating
at all, your body actually goes, oh no, the brain's saying there's something wrong, or there's something else that we're paying attention to. Hang on to that. So you've just eaten this amazing salad with all the micro, macro nutrients and all the levels of fat you need, and da 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 da. Your body's not going to digest it. It's going to hang on to it. And then once it does, it finally start digesting, because it has no choice. The food is not optimal, and it's not digesting it in the way that is best for your body, because now it's like, just get through it. We got to get this through the system. It's like, rushing it through a system. And when you rush through a car wash, what happens?
You lots of grime left over. Yeah.
Right. So we all know what that's like. So it's being in that optimal, I need to eat, I'm going to take 5 minutes. I don't care if you eat McDonald's, take 5 minutes, acknowledge what you're eating. That will start a process of the body saying, okay, it's time to digest. This isn't the best stuff. You will start to crave different things and healthier things when you start acknowledging what you're putting in your mouth.
Absolutely. The assimilation of our food is entirely different. And I love that you said, we can be eating crap food, but it might assimilate better if we're doing it in an environment in which we're utilizing our digestive system. It's able to function properly. That's such an important aspect. And I think sometimes too, people say, oh, it doesn't matter what I eat, or, oh, I can't have this, or I can't have that, when in reality, it really isn't about the food at all. It's about the state of their system when they are opening themselves. One of the practices that I lead people through in my work is to just encourage them to ask themselves before eating, not as a way to avoid eating or as a way to, make sure you're properly hungry or anything like that, but just, do I feel ready? Does my system feel ready to assimilate this food right now?
I love that. That's so right on, because just allowing ourselves to take it in and to focus on the stomach is a huge piece. And with the food quality, you're so right that, and people, I see ads all the time. Well, I can eat pizza and I can eat this, and I'm still this workout person. Well, because ironically, our bodies are so amazing. They're so amazing. They are designed to get rid of the junk that doesn't do well for our bodies. But when we have it in such a confused mode, it's storing it instead of letting it go. And we need to figure out, why is it storing it? What is it trying to tell me? There's either something that's not eating right, you're not paying attention to it, or there's an emotion that's attacking and just holding on to. There's something that needs to be unraveled, and it's not just one thing. It's not food, exercise.
Exactly. It is the combination of things, and and the state of our nervous system, right? Which I keep coming back to, because as you were saying, the nervous system affects the digestion, but poor digestion and pain and the other issues that we have trigger our nervous system more. And so we're on this, wheel in this cycle.
And when we don't feel good, we're emotional, and then we crave stuff that was not great for us, because we're trying to fill that emotional void. And then we don't feel good, and then we're trying to eat the salad, except we're distracted, and so we're not digesting. And so it just makes this wheel, like you said earlier, it makes this vicious circle. How do we step out of it?
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. We're painting this picture where we're telling people your relationship with food could be incredible. Your relationship with your body is a really important indicator. It's your guide map to helping you understand the types of food and the way that your body wants to eat, and making that relationship. We're saying the nervous system is highly implicated here. So somebody's head might be like, oh my gosh, there's all these pieces.
I'm hopeless.
And it's not. There's these little tiny things that we can start that will help start shifting the needle, and then our own body's wisdom will help us understand the next and the next and the next step. So what are your thoughts on what are some of the really basic things that somebody can do? We don't have to make it perfect today.
Yeah.
You don't have to, what can we do to just start this process of
Little step.
developing nourishing relationships with food, nourishing and ultimately blissful
There you
relationships
go.
with food?
So my number one thing is becoming aware. Like now, you know, you already did one thing. Look at that. Now you know. Okay, check. Number 2, take 5 minutes to eat anything. I don't care what it is. Take 5 minutes to acknowledge, to taste it. And if you have to say, ooh, this is salty, or this is sugary, or this is crunchy, or this is soft, or this tastes, do it. Go through, like I have a list that I show clients. Go through this in your head. And after you do it a few times, it's silly at first, but then you'll start doing it. Like, I want you to be completely focused on what is going on in your mouth.
Yes.
Because that's telling your body, what is going on, what's coming in. Let's start digesting. And if you could do that, you will find you will then take longer, because some people, you know, eat 5 minutes. They're like, okay, I gave it 5 minutes and now I'm going to look at my computer. No.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the first small step to then taking longer, to sitting and relaxing. Try to be if you sit at a table with people, try to be the last person to finish. Challenge you.
Like
right?
Yeah. And you know, so I've been giving this exercise for a long time, and people always come back and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't, you know, focus on it. Because I'm used to reading, watching TV, scrolling through my phone, whatever it is, while I'm eating. And so I created an exercise where, okay, so start with 1 meal a week, 2 meals a week, pretend you're a food critic and sit with the food and just pretend like, you know, what would you say about it? Would you say, oh, the presentation and and really just use that, because we can't jump necessarily from
doing it all the time.
and also from, you know, I'm not used to paying attention at all, so it's just really difficult. So I like that you're also encouraging them, you know, through the list, the salty, and it gives a place to focus, because we can't go from, you know, I'm focused on my book or my phone to nothing. We gotta, you know, find something in the middle. Be the last one at the table. Pretend you're a food critic. Really notice the flavors. I also like to share with people, you know, think about how the food got there on your plate. All the different, you know, steps along the way, the farmer and, you know, this
where it came
that
from,
place.
right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And just the sanctity of, wow, so many people contributed to this right now, to this,
how to get that.
In the body, you know?
One thing that I also encourage clients is that as you're setting up your plate, like, don't just dump it, or don't eat out of a container if that's what you're eating out of, but actually make your plate. Even when I have cheese and crackers, I love putting the cheese and it's all lined up, and the crackers, and I'll put some grapes on there, and, you know, maybe a little scoop of hummus. Like, make it pretty. Your oatmeal in the morning, make it pretty, and then you'll have an easier time of focusing on it, being a food critic about it, because it will be something fun to look at.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And each of these things, you know, challenge yourself to take 1 meal this week where you try some of these different ideas. When you said that, I thought to myself, sometimes I'll take a picture of my food and send it to my daughter and be like, isn't this look amazing? You know, maybe there's somebody in your life that you could, you know, take a picture. Hey, I'm going to start showing you. I'm going to show off my art through my food or something like that.
Exactly.
Making
That's a great idea.
You know, Amy, I've loved this conversation so much because there's so much lightness to it, right? There's so much fun and joy, as opposed to, you know, here's how we need to fix what's broken.
This is your diet.
Broken. Nothing is
no,
we
definitely
get to have these incredible relationships. And so it's, you know, thinking of it in that way, just one more place in life where we can be fulfilled and nourished and connected. So, oh, just beautiful. Well, I know you have a free gift for us that's going to be another thing that we can start to do in order to, you know, find more joy and lightness and comfort in our relationship with food. So please tell us about that.
So for you guys today, I have a mayonnaise recipe. And mayonnaise seems a little bit overwhelming, although more and more people are doing it. So I think that's awesome. This is the foundation for most of my sauces and salad dressings for the summer. You can make so many variations of it. It's amazing, but I always have some of this in the refrigerator. And starting to love your kitchen is, again, small steps, just like starting to your relationship with food, but having things that you've actually created from scratch it brings joy, is a huge step to loving your kitchen and loving being in it and the simplicity of it. So there's a recipe and there's a video on how to do it. And if you set up a system, you can do it very quickly and always have something on hand. And then if you travel down that hole, I have a whole bunch of recipes that integrate with that and all that kind of stuff. So yes, lots of resources for y'all. And I just love helping ignite people's relationship with
food. I love that you chose mayonnaise, because you're right. It is something people like, whoa, that's like advanced level stuff, right? But you're going to bring it and you're going to be like, look, there is no advanced level. You can make mayo.
And I was afraid of it too until you do it. And then you're like, oh, okay. Now I can put together a thing.
This is not hard.
This isn't bad. And it's so good. Like, I don't like mayonnaise otherwise. I can't eat anything else. So I call this my magic mayo, because people who don't like mayonnaise will eat this.
That's interesting, and I don't mean to villainize any kind of food, but unfortunately, a lot of the over the counter, the type of mayo that you're going to find in the stores is going to be full of soybean oil and all those things that probably not very many of our bodies are going to love. So this is a chance to see that difference. And you might wonder, I wonder where else I could be doing something kind of quick and easy and not have to, and then a lot of things, we're going to save money. Ultimately, we're going to, be able to put more nourishing ingredients in our body. So, oh my gosh, I can't wait to check this out. As soon as I get to it, I'm definitely going to try it. And
you'll have to send me your picture of it.
Yes, absolutely. The picture of it. Oh my gosh, Amy, it's been such a joy to be here with you and to just share your love of food and the nourishment that comes from not only the food, but from the experience.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Lori.
Absolutely. Thank you all. We'll see you soon in one of our future interviews.